Hey guys, welcome to the Tatum Talk show where good is the enemy of great. Hey guys, man, this is an action-packed show, man. Listen, I got my guy with me, man. This is going to be a great show for y'all, man. Listen, I got my guy, Gerald Baker, but I got a special co-host all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, man. I call him the mayor of Nashville, man. His name is Buck Fitzgerald, man. Listen, this guy right here is a legend in Tennessee. Let me tell y'all why. If you go take a list of the 100 top players in Tennessee, I guarantee you 70 of them is in this program. He got NFL players, more college players than pretty much anybody around the country in college right now. This is my guy, Buck Fitzgerald. How you doing, Buck?
Glad to be here in the land of Derek Tatum, etc. So glad to be here. Let's get into it with the real legend, though.
Yes, man. Listen, I got Gerald Baker. Man, this guy is awesome, man. Listen, he's from Cleveland, where I'm from, man. Cleveland, stand up, baby. The land.
Baby, the land.
So this guy right here, military, 28 years, just a real hands-on father, man. I've been knowing his kids since they were like 13 or 14 years old, and just a real hands-on father that I want people to understand that a lot of times these agents, as you get older, these coaches try to separate the good fathers from these kids' lives. So, Mr. Baker, I want you to just briefly tell me a little bit about yourself, about your story, man. You know, where you came from and how'd you end up in this situation right here.
Okay. First of all, my name is Gerald Baker. I want to give glory to the Most High, okay, because without him, there's nothing. There's nothing whatsoever. And through his blessings, I'm able to be here right at this moment. Basically, I come from Cleveland. I was born and raised in Cleveland. I left Cleveland at 15 with my mother and my siblings, okay? We came to Georgia, and we stayed in East Lake Meadows, okay? And I want to give a shout out to East Lake Meadow folks from that time in the 80s. I mean, the 70s and the 80s. And from that point on, I basically went to East Atlanta High School. From East Atlanta High School, I went to Fulton High School, George High, and Washington High. I ended up graduating from Washington High School.
Okay.
From graduating, I followed my older brother into the military. I saw what the military could do for him, and I thought that I could get that also in going there. Okay. But again, I didn't have the temperament for the military, and it was hard. It was very hard because you have to have the temperament for the military. Discipline. And it's discipline and temperament and be able to receive orders and be able to be broken down, just like all eras of life. You have to be broken down from one state to another state.
Sure.
So that basically, that is my childhood. I grew up, like I said, mostly in Georgia. I ended up going different places, and I came back and I married my first wife at 19. She was 16.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had 4 kids from her, four males.
All boys.
All boys from her. Okay.
Oh, wow.
From her.
I
just second marriage.
Listen, y'all, his oldest, his son, Javon Baker, man, 4th round draft pick, man, for the Patriots, man. So I want to throw that in there just so y'all can know where we going with this right here.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So and I learned at an early age that a kid's mind has to be occupied. He cannot be idle. So I began to put my kids in sports.
Okay.
And with that, I had my oldest kids. They were great at sports. Okay, but they didn't have the height. But they were great at sports. They were athletic. My oldest son he's about 5'7". He could play basketball. I mean, slam, do everything, but the height. He traveled all over the country.
Size matter.
Right, and we're at an age, well, if we would have been in this age, I could have, because you have the Trey Youngs and people like that who are not of size but can just ball out.
Yeah,
and
for
he
sure,
had
for
that
sure.
speed to do that, to get to the cup, and he was just great. His brother behind him was a baseball fanatic, and he loved baseball. So as time went by, I separated from my first wife, and I ended up being in a relationship with Javon and Jaquan's mom. And they basically got that height from that side.
I wanted like Javon.
Okay, 'cause
Javon like
Javon's
6'2".
6'2", bro.
I tried Javon get 6. I'm like, man, the mailman. What the mailman doing, dog?
You know,
That man 6'2". Like, man, how you get 6'2"? Daddy 5'8", man.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then
He started drafting better, man.
you gotta start drafting better, for the team. You know what I'm saying? And really and truly, if you saw Javon early age, he was small. He was a small kid, and I never thought that Javon nor Jaquan would be the athletes in that field in the realm of football like they are.
So let me ask you a question then.
Sure.
So like, let's get right down to it, man. Look, man, the military background, I know you were hard on your son.
Yes.
All right. How did that affect your relationship? Because I understand me and my son relationship, I can't coach my son
Yes.
because he takes things personal.
Yes.
How do you being that military background affect you and your son relationship?
That's a great question. First of all, at first, me coming from the military and coming from my father was very strict.
Okay.
He didn't play.
You strict though.
But no. I put it like this. I made him. I looked good compared to him.
Okay.
And as time went by, because my older kids always say, "Daddy, you wasn't as strict on them as you are with us." But
That's how it usually is, though.
But
Right,
you know
right.
something. But usually But basically, when I think about it, and my son and I, Javon, had a conversation not too long ago about it, and he felt that I was too strict, and I had to explain to him, Javon, listen to me, okay? You never, okay, seen any of your brothers go to court. We've never been to jail.
Wow.
We've never. Okay, and that's
Before
unheard
boys.
of.
Before boys. Yeah, that's
Four boys.
that is
That's
hard.
a never.
That's tough.
Okay, and for them to aspire to be what they are today. Okay, at first when I was taken aback when at first he told me, "Daddy, I felt that you were borderline, just abusive verbally, because I had a vision." And let me go back and tell you the vision, okay, that you know about. You'll recall it. Javon and Jaquan and my second wife, Donna Baker, and I want to give a shout out to her. I love you, boo. And basically, she we were at church, and a prophet named Alfred from the middle, kind of, like from Washington and D.C. area. Okay. Prophesies. Never known him, never met him before in my life. He tells me to stand up, and he tells Javon and Jaquan to stand up. He says, the Most High is going to bless that young man. He's going to break records that's never been broken in the NFL. He called it out.
Wow.
Okay. Now, Javon at the time was, like I said, young, and he was short.
Yeah.
Javon didn't get his height until Javon reached. Remember, Javon was like 5'10" when he first came to you. Okay, and he grew. Okay, and he reached that throughout his time. 9th grade, he started growing. 10th, and he started growing. So that was like a faith. I went out on faith. So when he prophesied that, the conditions are, and anybody knows when the Most High gives you a prophecy, okay, it's conditions that you have to do. Because that's working the faith.
For sure.
Okay, you have to work that faith. Okay, so he gave a prophecy and a blessing. Okay, but again, all right, throughout the scripture, it speaks of this is the prophecy, but this is what you have to do to fulfill it. Abraham, had to fulfill it.
Right.
Okay, David had to fulfill it.
For sure,
You know,
for sure.
and so on. And it was prophesied before Yeshua came. Okay, that he would be the Savior. Okay, but it was prophesied all through. Out the history.
Let me pause on that. Hey guys, I want to pause on that real quick, man. This segment, man, was brought to you by. All right, guys, welcome back to the Tatum Talk Show, man. Where good is the enemy of great. Guys, I got my co-host, man, Buck Fitzgerald from Nashville, Tennessee. I call him the mayor of Nashville is here, man. I got Gerald Baker, man, father of 4th round draft pick, man, Javon Baker for the New England Patriots. He just tell us the story about how he knew his son would be special just from a moment when he went to church with his wife and somebody spoke knowledge, somebody prophesied this into his life. So, Mr. Baker, Come on, let's go. Tell me that story.
So basically, he prophesies, and he says he gave the prophecy that was over Javon and Jaquan. Okay. Then he said, well, this is what you're going to do. Okay. And at the time, Javon and Jaquan were living with their mom. Okay. And in that prophecy, it says that I will have custody of them.
Wow.
Okay. And it was a wild moment because
you said that at church?
Yes, at church.
How old were the kids?
They were 7 and 8.
Okay.
And the prophecy was given. Okay. Now, keep in mind, they never played an ounce of football. Okay.
Wow.
This is before they start getting into it.
He said before. Hold on. So how do you know y'all? Well, obviously it came from the Most High because I'm saying he said football.
He said football. Okay, football. Now, anybody that knows Javon knows that any sport he touches, he excelled at. Okay, basketball. Javon was highly recruited at basketball. He's a monster. Soccer. Okay, soccer. He's a monster. Any sport, and the people who are watching this podcast who knows Javon knows from when he was young that Javon excelled in sports, all sports. It was not a sport that Javon did not excel in tremendously, and it had to be. And Javon started off, okay, this is after the prophecy. I went forth on faith Now, everybody, including she would tell you, she told me, she says, you're putting too much into them. You divide, you got the house divided. Okay, you got the house divided because you're doing too much. Because every practice, okay, I was there. I never played the role of going to bring them to practice and sit in the car and let you go on out there to practice. No, I was there front and center to see this miracle, to see this come to fruition.
But Mr. Baker, let me ask you a question though. Looking back at it though, don't you think you did too much though?
Yes, I did. I did too much.
So explain to me, because I want you parents to understand, we all are dads, man, right. And we all do too much at times. Because I look back at when my son was 8, and I'm like, man, I was doing too much on the sideline. You know what I'm saying? So explain to me, what do you mean by that? Because I want these other dads to understand, we have to be on our sons, but what's too much?
Too much is when you get a call from school and they tell you, well, he did this. No, my son didn't. He didn't do this. Okay, too much is when you're on the sideline and you're actually arguing with the coach on when you gonna put him in. Why are you not using?
That's too much.
Why you're
that
in the coach's
too
face.
Much.
Okay, Too much is one game we were in the championship and we were in Sandy Springs and he prayed for the Sandy Springs Saints. Shout out to them also. They saw the vision. Yeah. And we were playing in Forsyth. Okay, and we're playing against a Forsyth team.
Yeah.
Okay, and Javon has never been a selfish player. Anybody that knows Javon knows that he's never been a selfish player. If he's tied up and he has you have him bracketed or something like that, and a man is open, he gonna tell you as a coach to throw it to him. But now me as a daddy who did too much. Okay, so man, you better get my son that ball, man. And again. Too much is at middle school. I mean, and again, Javon has won on every level.
Yeah.
Okay. Including Natty, whatever.
Yeah.
So He has not won an NFL championship, but
Not yet,
everything
not
else
yet,
he's
not
won.
yet. He hit the Patriots, though.
Okay,
We looked that
yes,
up.
sir. But every else he won.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, we're on the sideline, and I'm real close friends with the head coach.
Yeah.
Okay, and we had a mutiny, and we got him, my best friend, one of my best friends, as the head
mutiny.
coach.
Oh,
Okay,
no,
so-
no, no.
That's too much.
No, come back.
That's too much.
No, what's the see again? So Baker, I'm on the parents' head all the time.
Yes.
because I blame the whole football, this whole mess with football. I
Yes.
blame it on the parents because the reason why I say that is because back in the day when we played football, as my parents dropped me off and let the coach.
Yes.
And didn't complain.
Yes.
And when I wanted to quit, they ain't let me quit.
Yes.
Like it was like, no, you're gonna do what your coach say. Nowadays, because parents have, I'll say they're more affluent, they have more money, they can move when they want to move. They are more apt to say something to the coaches. But what if you look back at this right now? What you say? What can you tell a father? What advice would you give a father to, hey, listen, at 9 years old, how would you act when your son is playing or when he's not playing? What would you advice you give to a dad? Say, hey, man, listen, I know my son ain't playing. Like, how would you tell them to talk to the coach?
First of all, never talk to a coach in front of your kid. Okay? Never disrespect a coach in front of your kid. Okay? Because they'll take that. Okay? And one, it'll piss the coach off. Two, the kid will tell the coach, hey, I'll get my daddy. My dad will take me out of here. My dad will take me out of here.
Yeah.
And again, also as a coach, don't be too thirsty for the kid. Okay, because you got coaches that will lie and will tell you, oh, I'm gonna put this kid, make this kid this, I'm gonna make this kid this, and they're too thirsty. And the kid's seeing this thirst. Okay. And as you know, as you when you came up, you saw certain kids or certain players that the coach catered to.
Yeah, for
okay.
sure,
And
for sure.
and the other kids saw this and it pissed them off. Okay. And also the kid who was getting it languished on, also, okay, had the big head. So as a parent, don't confront the coach in front of your kid. One. Okay.
Yeah.
Two, don't act the fool on the sideline. Please don't act the fool on the sideline. Please hold that. Be less emotionless. Be motionless. You don't want to show anybody because people who remember me, they'll tell you.
You crazy, man. Come on, man. Let's make
crazy.
Well, let me ask you this. So I got one thing to add to what you said. It goes into my question. So I think parents get on the wrong side of this not because of finances. I feel like they're living vicariously through their sons.
Yes.
Okay. And so was that part of your deal? Obviously, you realized that you made mistakes. Was that part of your deal? When did you realize you made that mistake? And I'm conflicted here because obviously the ultimate goal was reached as far as football.
You made it.
Your son is in the league. So do you feel like it was worth it? Or when did this come to Jesus moment happen in your life and your relationship with the kids? Like, I'm doing too much, I need to pull back. Or did it just work out and, it just worked out for the best, and after the fact, you realize maybe I didn't have to do that?
Hey guys, hold on before you ask. We're gonna take a quick. I know it's getting hot. I know y'all want to hear the answer to that question, man. Hold on, man. We're gonna pause right here, man, because this segment of the show is brought to you by. Guys, welcome back, guys, to the Tatum Talk show, guys. Where good is the enemy of greats, guys. I'm back here with Buck Fitzgerald, the mayor of Nashville, and Gerald Baker, man. I've been knowing the guy, man, for over 10 years, man. Yeah. Mr. Baker, let's answer that question, man, that Buck asked about. Buck, can you kind of give me a little bit what you said before the break?
So obviously, again, I feel like parents live vicariously through their sons.
Yeah.
They see what could be, and maybe they didn't play at that level as a parent, and does that go into the emotion that you felt on the sideline, which is hard to control because obviously now in 72 degrees AC, you're thinking level-headed, you understand it was the wrong thing to do. All right, so you understand maybe I did too much. Your son made it to the ultimate level.
Yes, he made it.
Right, so when did you reconcile that? Was it along the journey and said maybe I need to pull back to help my son, or did it in some ways work and you feel bad about it now, but it kind of made things a little better
'cause it
or
made it
opened
leave.
some doors.
Well, actually, I was arrogant. I was very arrogant.
Oh, wow.
I was quick to tell, and anybody remember, you remember DT,
Yeah.
when I would tell people, okay, we didn't pay for no camps. We didn't pay for participation in 7-on-7. We didn't do none of the above, okay? Point blank and simple, okay? And I was arrogant. And again, any kid, let me tell you something that you have to remember, okay? The Most High controls all this.
Yes.
Okay. And you have to stay humble. If you're not humble, you will always fall on your face. Okay. I was arrogant. Okay. And what really made me come to that thought process was Alabama, when Javon was at Alabama. Okay. And I started to buy into the talk and buy into the talking heads, all these Alabama radio shows and podcasts and stuff, talking about the next the next wide receiver, greatest wide receiver to come out of Alabama. Okay, and I started to get arrogant, and in my arrogance, okay, I was not willing to listen because now I was spoiled in middle school. I was spoiled in rec ball, high school, okay, because the coaches just placate to me and say, oh, that loudmouth, we'll just, we'll deal with him for Javon.
So it worked. So it worked.
It did work. It did work, though.
It's kind of bad to say, but
yeah, and you had a yin and a yang. So anybody that knows Javon knows that Javon doesn't say nothing.
No.
Okay, he puts everything on the field. Okay, he's gonna give you doing workouts, playing the game. He's gonna give you 175%. Okay, he's the ultimate team player. Anybody they'll vouch for this, and everybody out there who knows him on the personal will vouch for that. Okay, that's the truth. So, okay, they allowed me to do this.
Wow.
Up until I got to Alabama. Okay, of course, Alabama had this kid.
Listen up, parents. Listen up,
Had
parents.
this kid, okay, highly recruited. And anybody remember, Javon had 52. Okay, 52. He went to anywhere in the nation. Okay, and we ended up going to Alabama because I was sick.
Well, hold on. Let's take a step back from that. I want you to finish this, but let me ask you a question. Me and you had talked. I never forget we talked, and this is something that I want all the parents to understand. Me and you had talked, and I was like, hey man, Arkansas is on the up and coming.
Yes.
Arkansas throws the ball a whole lot.
Yes.
Your son would be the biggest recruit they've had
Yes.
there. Me and you kind of thought that Arkansas would have been better for him.
Yes.
But you allowed your son to make the decision.
No.
Which
No.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell you about that.
Okay. Now we
I
talking.
told you I allowed him to make the decision. Javon was going to Ohio State, sir.
Oh.
Okay, because he went. Remember when we went through Michigan? You guys had just come back.
Yeah.
Remember? And y'all went through the Midwest.
Yeah.
Okay. And we had Ohio State, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Indiana, Maryland. Okay. And us being from Cleveland, my brother threw a wrench into it. He called my son and said, Javon, you go to Ohio State, I'll buy your car. This is before
This is before NIL deal.
I'll buy your car.
Yeah.
To this day, he's all fanatic Ohio State, and I am too. Ohio State, Cleveland Browns, Indians.
Of course.
Guardians,
Guardians,
which
but
I hate that name anyway. But anyway, so I got sick, okay, and I died. Okay, yes, I died for 3 seconds.
Damn.
Okay, and I was rushed to the hospital. Okay, now Javon, Jaquan, and my boys, they will not come to the hospital. They don't want to see me like that. Okay? They don't want to see me like that. So
know that.
Javon calls me because we're going back and forth. Alabama, you need to go to Alabama because it's 2.5 hours. Okay, I can't get on the road and go, and your base station's in Cleveland. I'm in Ohio, in Columbus, and travel all around.
So
okay, it was literally killing me.
Okay, so because you got sick,
right?
Alabama was a better move.
Was the better move,
but hindsight 20. I mean, I know
that would
you would have made the same decision though?
No. He would took his butt to Ohio State. He went to Ohio State. Or he would have went to Arkansas. Arkansas, Pittman is the best. Listen to me. I have my top 5 coaches, and again, Javon had 52. So we went to just about every college. Yeah. We went from USC to Boston College to Syracuse to Miami. Okay, all of them. And they're about all of them we went to. Okay, and every one that he went to, he would win MVP.
Yeah.
If it wasn't,
we saw it.
That's right. Receive MVP. It was MVP of that camp. Yeah. So and that's how he got most of his offers. Okay. Right. So and they were committable.
Well then hold on. How about this then? So listen now. So it worked out for you.
Yes.
But man, now let's talk about when you decided to. Well, first of all, let me go back. Man, Javon Baker was one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. All right, I can go back to when we used to working out 7 a.m. in the morning, and it was Ricky White, who was UNLV, who had 15 yards receiving last year, working together. But I want to talk about what made you decide to leave Alabama after you guys had just won national championships to go to UCF. Like what was that decision process? Like why'd you choose UCF? Why'd you go somewhere else?
Again, Javon never wanted to leave Alabama. Okay, I'll say it again. Javon never wanted to leave Alabama. Okay, I made that decision because, again, Mr. Baker and his arrogance, Mr. Baker and him being so arrogant that how dare you not play my son? How dare you not play my son against University of Georgia? Okay, and because of that arrogance, me and Coach Saban clashed.
Ooh,
okay,
the GOAT? You clashed with the GOAT, man. We can clash with the GOAT, bro. That's very arrogant.
It was
that's
a lot
the GOAT,
of
bro. This dude got 7 rings, man.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And you clashed with him, bro.
And
choice
again,
words, man.
Mind you, we got his last one. We got his last natty, okay?
You was right, Saban was wrong, right?
Yeah, you were right. You were right. You were right. Okay.
He has 5 rings, sir.
Okay.
So we got his last natty. So, but the thing about it is, was I was arrogant. Okay. And how dare you? Okay. I wanted a meeting with Coach Saban.
Yeah.
Okay. And at that time, he would not see me. I was pissed after we left the national championship and Georgia beat us. Okay. We were up in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, I remember that.
All right. And during the halftime, before halftime, Williams got hurt. So
I remember that. So I thought Javon was up next. He was up next.
We thought that Javon was
the next
man
I was waiting for him.
Okay.
And they put in that freshman.
They put in that freshman over Javon.
Yep. I remember that.
Now, anybody that knows Javon puts in the work. Okay. Javon puts in the work. His GPA, by the way, was a 3.9. He was on the dean's list both years that he was there, including he made the National Honor Society and, on number of occasions, he made Student Athlete of the Week. Okay, so he was blowing them away in the grades, and he was blowing them away at practices. Okay, anybody knows Javon's gonna get 150%. He's not a lazy kid. He's gonna work. He's gonna outwork anybody. Okay, or he'll work with you. Okay, you. It's never been a player. I don't care NFL level, whatever. That said. So basically,
UCF. Come on, how we get to UCF? How we get to UCF? How we get to UCF?
So Cam Newton and Deshaun Lawrence. That's a prodigy of Gus Manziel. Okay, and I love the guy. Yeah. The guy is, out of all the coaches that I spoke with, he was it was refreshing. Okay, now a lot of people say, well, Gus did that. No, I'm telling you, with my kid and with my arrogance, me and this man sat in his office going back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay, arguing back and forth, on Javon. Okay, and we just came to a happy medium, because certain things I wanted Javon to have, and I thought that it was worthy of him because probably he came from Alabama, and he had 5 rings, a championship ring. So,
Well, hold on. Well, okay, so and I don't want to because we got about 2 more minutes this week.
Okay.
Now you ain't got to tell me the number, but was NIL a factor?
Yes, it was. It was a factor. It was a big factor. So
that money was a factor. Okay. But
was that the go? Coming back and forth with the coach. Was it negotiations
it
for
was
NIL?
negotiation with the NIL and also his worth. What I again in my arrogance,
his role.
I thought
his role
and his worth. Okay, now at the time they had just gotten Kobe Hudson.
Yeah, Kobe Hudson from Georgia, great player.
And Kobe Hudson and Javon grew up together.
Yeah, friends.
Okay,
I know.
they're like brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually, I thought it was not UCF. Okay, but Kobe reached out to me and a couple other people. Top Shelf, Stephen Brown, and TJ, Top Shelf, reached out to me, okay? And at that time, we had, of course, he had committed to Kentucky.
Yeah, my school. Right. You decommitted from my school. Man, we got money too now, bro. I'm telling you,
But think about it was, I felt that Kentucky, in the middle part of Javon wanting to go there, he wanted to go there. With Cohen, Liam Cohen, OC, Monster, Young, Innovative. They kind of like, I just felt that they ghosted him. Okay, they had this commitment and they ghosted him. Okay, I don't know what happened, but I felt they ghosted him. Okay, so in me feeling that they ghosted him, I didn't feel, again, in my arrogance now, guys, I felt that you didn't languish on my son enough, so we're out here. Okay, and people say, well, Kentucky Faithful says, well, he left because his grades. That's a lie.
No, he has good grades.
3.9, sir. Look it up. If you don't believe me, look it up. He left because of the money. No, it wasn't the money. It was ghosting. Okay, so we ended up going to Maryland with Loxley, who is a Nick Saban coaching tree.
Yeah.
Okay, we were going to Maryland. But we ended up not going to Maryland. Okay, things kicked in and we didn't go to Maryland.
So
Loxley got hurt.
So you're in the
right,
UCF.
UCF. Okay, so me and Gus is in the office. Okay, and again, a great guy. Going back and forth on what I felt that my son was worth. Okay, and Gus stuck to his guns. He's like, he's worth this, but we're not going to, no. We're not going to do this. And also, okay, you have to tell me and give me your word, okay? Because a lot of coaches, they give you a word that Javon was going to be the man. Okay.
Oh wow.
So
damn, you as a head coach,
your word.
You as a head coach, the man.
Okay, the man, the word. Okay,
right.
You gonna make
franchise.
Okay, so and I said, and he wants the number one.
And damn,
he wants the one.
He said,
he got the one, sir.
Listen,
he got the one, sir.
We got 1 minute. I gotta get to this last question. We got 1 minute. You wanted to ask me a question, man. I know you wanted to ask me a question before we go up, because I'm gonna ask you this last question now. But at the end of the day, y'all, he was arrogant, but it worked out though. Like your son, now his son probably should have been I'm gonna say second round draft pick. You know, but he went 4th round, so it worked out for him though. So just I want you to wrap it up and tell the parents what would you do differently, and like real quick, what would you do differently? And because it worked out for you though, so it ain't much you really could do differently, because everything you did formed what happened. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like, what would you do differently?
First of all, you can't live through your kids.
Okay? Damn.
Your kids are your kids, two separate entities. Because they look like you, don't mean that they're you. Okay, you can't live from kids. Look at me, I'm 5'8", okay, and Javon 6'2". You can't live from 3 kids, okay? Also, you can't, the old saying is, when you serve the Most High, He covers a multitude of sins, okay? And this is where I'm at with it now, because again, proud and arrogance, He despises, okay? So in spite of that, my son ended up in the NFL. But to say that going in the fourth round was Javon, no, it was me. It was me. It was me. It was me and my arrogance. It was me and the way I handled it, the way that, okay, and again, believe me, okay, anybody that knows me will tell you, okay, I don't take crap, and I will let you know, and I will voice my opinion, and I did it too much to coaches on the college level, and it became whispers in the scouts' ear.
Oh, wow.
It became whispers in people saying, "Well, that kid is a great talent, but his dad has a lot of sway on him." Okay, and it became and again, people love your kid because they see dollar signs, okay? And they will put up with your kid because they see dollar signs, okay? Don't let nobody tell you that they love your kid. They just met your kid, okay? They're a lie. Truth ain't in them, okay? And basically, I wish that I would have been more humble, okay? I wish that I would have thought that Javon is a separate entity. Javon is not Gerald. Okay, Javon lives Javon's life, and Gerald needs to live his life.
Wow.
Okay, and I always confused it. I lived through Javon. Okay, through traveling with Javon, through getting in people's face and telling them, "Hey, you don't know who this is. Okay, you don't. My son is this, and my son is that." And actuality, it was bloating. I was getting bloated up. Because anybody that knows Javon knows Javon is not an arrogant kid.
Guy.
He's very humble.
Nice
okay,
kid.
You're very humble. Won't very say much to you. Okay, and until you get on the field, and then he's not gonna say nothing until you're on the field. No. He's just gonna beat you out and destroy you.
He's not trash talker.
And it's a wrap.
So
okay?
last thing
Yes,
before we got this, how did elite talent? How did our program help you through this process to get you where you're at right now?
Okay, as you know, DT is a DB coach, okay? He's the first guy to come to me and tell me, "Mr. Baker, you want Javon to get his 5th star? He needs to train dual." I was like, "Man, you crazy," He says, "No, I'm telling you, he has it." Including Dennis, okay. Shout out to Dennis too, okay. And Mills and Middleton. I don't want to forget you guys.
All my guys.
All his guys, okay. Today I am so close with DB and Middleton and Mills. They call me all the time, okay. And I just want to get out a shout out. Dennis called me every once in a while, but just give you a shout out because I love you too, boy, because you guys have been great, okay? Along with and also it takes a village, guys. For sure. You're not a one-man island, but remain humble. Please remain humble. Think that this kid is a separate entity, okay? And don't believe the hype, okay? The coaches will start lying to you in middle school, okay, about what your kid is. But remember this, okay? When we first started in rec ball, 200 kids went with us, okay? Yeah. In the end, going to the NFL, there's only 3. There's only 3, Dang. Okay? So, again, the percentage is 1% and over 3 billion in the world. Make it. You got people in the world that want to be in the NFL that can't make it to the NFL, okay? And it's a blessing, but then again, don't spit on a blessing.
Right.
Don't spit on your blessing, okay? Don't spit on it. So just be humble and allow your child to be who they are. And when you see it, that favoritism, stop it. I promise you, if you get favoritism at the high school level, he'll go to the college level and think he's gonna get favoritism, and there's kids just better than him. Okay, and please, in it all, develop a work ethic. Yeah. Okay, if you're a lazy player, if you think you're gonna live on your talents, I promise you, you won't. I won't, and the coach will not play you. Okay, if you are a lazy player. Okay, he would push your tail out because again, coach like say he can get 5 stars every day. Okay, every day, and he'll push your tail right out. UCF, same thing, and you can check it out with Gus. And I love you, Gus. Shout outs to you also, Gus, because even though Javon is no longer there, you still reach out to me. You still show love and always say that we're part of your family, and you've shown it through. And you kept your word. You said Javon would be the number 1, okay? And he pushed a lot of kids out of there, out of there because because you kept your word, okay? And his second year, you kept your word. So you once you had them entrenched in there, you still kept your word. You could have said, "Hey, I'll push you aside," and let others. But thank you
For sure.
and just be humble, guys.
Guys, I want to just thank y'all again, man. This is the Tatum Talk Show, man.
Yes.
We had Gerald Baker, man, which is a lot of great information, man. Buck
Yes.
Fitzgerald, my co-host for the day, man. Just want to tell y'all, man, good is the enemy of great.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
All right, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, bro, man. That was.